It's a warning about consistency, and a warning about how you go about your judgments. And the way we know that it's not a blanket command not to judge at all is because, like you said, he goes on to give instructions on how to judge. Greg, go ahead.
My question here is, what is Jesus talking about here in Matthew, at the beginning of Matthew chapter 7, where we do get this famous command to judge not?
I think it's helpful to realize that what he says is, judge not lest you be judged. And then he goes on to say, for in the manner in which you judge, or the extent to which you judge, in the same way you will be judged. So his point is that the standard you use to judge others by is the standard by which you will be judged. And so if you judge others unfairly or unjustly, God will likewise judge you in that way and find you wanting. It's a warning about consistency, and a warning about how you go about your judgments. And the way we know that it's not a blanket command not to judge at all is because, like you said, he goes on to give instructions on how to judge. He's giving a warning about unjust judgments. So some ways to judge unjustly would be to jump to a conclusion before you have all the evidence or all the testimony that would be relevant to make the judgment. Another way would be to have an overly punitive response. Say, Adam slights me by accident somehow, and I respond in my own mind by saying Adam's a complete worthless, evil human being that I never want to be friends with again. That's obviously unjust. The punishment, so to speak, even though I'm not hurting him, the judgment in my mind doesn't match the crime at all.
In the beginning of Matthew 7, it talks about, the log and the speck. It says, you hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. The main person that I'm supposed to make right before God is myself. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how well I'm wording that, but then after you've done that assessment and maybe you've made that change that's necessary, then you can say to your brother, hey, I see that you're doing these things in your life. It's not healthy. It's not good. Let me help you to get better with this.
Yeah, and it's important to see that Jesus says, so that you may take the speck out of your brother's eye, right? So the reason you're supposed to judge yourself first is so that you're better equipped to judge others. And I think it's helpful to realize, and this is implied in what you were just saying, that too often we think of judgment as a purely or almost exclusively negative thing. Like judgment is tearing others down or lifting yourself above others. And I think that's a really unhealthy view of what judgment is. It's better to think of judgment as, I want what's good and true and beautiful for myself and for as many other people as possible. And the way to get it is to make judgments about what is good and true and beautiful, and to make judgments about things that are against what's good and true and beautiful, and to help others overcome those things that are against what's good and true and beautiful. And so the point of judgment is a positive orientation towards what is good. It's not about comparing yourself. So if you come at the topic of judgment in an individualistic fashion, we are thinking about me as an individual and them as an individual, and my relationship and their relationship to the good, to the true, rather than our relationship to each other. You get rid of that negative connotation that comes along with judgment that most people jump to in our culture. Another stumbling block for Christians, I think, and what you said reminded me of this, is the idea of being forgiven by God. To some Christians means that there's no longer any room for judgment. Because in an ultimate sense, there is no more room for judgment in God's eyes towards us. And so there's a sloppy way that you can think about that. And that's what Paul wants to combat when he says, what should we keep on sinning so that grace may abound? By no means, right?
Yeah.
So the reason that God has saved us and forgiven us was so that we would be free to glorify him. That the point is glory. And if you don't make judgments and keep yourself from what is evil and stay on the path of what is good, you're going to fail to glorify him. And if you are genuinely forgiven, then you have a deep and enduring love for God and love for his glory, such that you will hate that and you'll want to make judgments in order to glorify him more in the future.